Hey, welcome to the Empowered and Free podcast. My name is Erin Kimbrell, and I'm a counselor, certified life coach, breathwork coach, and small town mom of two. I know firsthand what it feels like to live with high functioning anxiety. For most of my life, I had so much mental mess, anxiety, people pleasing, perfectionism, overthinking, constant worrying, and never feeling good enough. On my decade-long journey to feeling better, I've learned how to take back my life from high-functioning anxiety and helped others to do the same through my coaching and breathwork programs. Now I want to share everything I know with you. This podcast will help you feel empowered over your high-functioning anxiety and free to finally live the life of your dreams. Now, grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and dive into the episode. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast. Hey, friend, welcome back to the podcast. It has been a minute. I am really excited to be back, but I have kind of a different episode today. This is more of a personal share, really just kind of sharing from the heart, some things that have been going on for me and some things that I'm quitting, like completely quitting. I really can't believe that I'm saying that, but I am quitting a lot of things. So just know I'm about to put my heart on my sleeve and share some struggles that I've had, some of my deepest thoughts that I've had. It just like feels really vulnerable to come on here and share like this, but I feel like you guys are here to listen, you're here to learn, you'll hear me out. And I think that you'll support me on some big changes that I have already made and some changes that are coming. So I first want to start by just saying this overall is just going to be an update on the podcast that you're listening to, my business, my life, with just full transparency. I like to just keep it open and honest and be really clear about what's going on. So here goes. Okay. I have been really taking the past few months off, you could say. I've still been kind of posting some, but for the most part, just off. I've been reflecting on what's going on, what got me to the place that I've been at for several months, even prior to that. So I really had to figure out what wasn't working for me and what I wanted to change, like what I wanted to happen. What did I even want in the first place? I am super big. If you've been here a while, you know this. I'm super big on living intentionally, living by design, kind of creating the life that you want to live. So this is what I've been doing, like head down kind of quietly to myself for the past several months. I've been sharing a few hints kind of on my Instagram stories. That's where I'm at the most often is on Instagram stories. And I've been sharing some hints on there. If you follow me, you've probably seen that. Let's just go ahead and like, there's no easy way to start this. Let's just talk about some of the things that I am quitting. Okay. I'm quitting putting my business before my health and before my family. Like these are two of the biggest things that are most important to me. And it wasn't intentionally that I said like, hey, let's make the business more important than these other things that are the most important to me. Like that wasn't the thought that I had. It's just something that kind of happened over time and it really wasn't feeling good. I was pouring and pouring and pouring my heart into something that is definitely important to me. Don't get me wrong, but I would tell all of you guys, everybody listening, that there are probably other things more important than your work here in this world. And so that's what I had to do was like take a step back, like really zoom out. And I'm sharing the strategy with you so that you can work on this if you feel like you need to do this. I hope this is like encouragement for you to just do it if things aren't feeling right. So I had to take a step back, totally zoom out of my life and put it back in order like it should have been. What was my top focus? What was my second focus? What is my third focus? What is my fourth focus? And really like listing them out like that because the life that I was living was not in the right order, just to be honest. So any of my students know this. One of the very first exercises we do inside of my programs, inside of working with me, is we do what I call a reality check. And this is what I had to give to myself, like reality check, Erin, are you living the life that you want to live? So what you want to do in general is look at the time that you have in your day. How are you spending your day? You can track this. You can just kind of give a general estimate, but be honest with yourself, be real. Looking at what you spend your time on in your day, is that the thing or the things, are those the things that are most important to you? Because if they're not, that's why you feel off. Things are not lining up. So that's what I had to do was put this all back into alignment for me. And again, I'm talking you through this process. I'm giving you really general statements. This is something that I do with all my clients because this is the most important thing. We can learn how to feel less anxious all day. We can learn how to do these things. But what's really most important is, are you living life in alignment with what you want that fulfills your purpose? That is the reason that you are here. Are you giving time to the things that are most important? In honesty, I was not always. There were times I was definitely doing that, but it didn't feel like it was enough. And so I had to put it back in order, in the right order for me. If that feels like really overwhelming, or maybe you're feeling the same way, you're feeling stuck in life, you're like, I know that things aren't exactly what I want, things fell off, things fell out of whack, and you don't know how to make it right, I would love to help you. This is something I'm so passionate about. You can probably hear that in my voice. I love doing this. Again, this is why we do it like right off the bat with every student or client I have, because it's super duper important. I want to make sure that you are living your life with so much intention, so much purpose, so you feel deeply fulfilled and happy. Okay, I had to pause recording and come inside because I was out on the porch and the frogs were frogging. If you heard that just a couple minutes ago, they were being very loud. So we had to come inside. Let's move on to the second thing that I'm quitting. And I will say these are in no particular order. I was just writing from the heart, just like mind dumping down all the different stuff that I've already quit, the things that I am quitting. Number two is coming, but I'll tell you, number three, you guys are going to be like, what in the world? Because I still can't believe it myself. But back to number two, the second thing that I'm quitting is putting so much focus and attention on social media. Um, if you are an entrepreneur, especially if you have an online business, there's so much pressure to be on social media, post on social media, get, followers from social media, and of course, clients from social media. And it's just a lot. It's a lot of pressure. And I had put a lot of that pressure on myself. I wanted to do all of my posts well. When they didn't do well, when they didn't get the likes, I was really self critical. I was really hard on myself. I was doubting myself. Why do I not know how to do this? And here's the most frustrating part for me. Just again, this is like full transparency. I'm really good at what I do. I'm really, really, really good at helping you feel less anxious in your life. But posting on social media is definitely not my strong suit. It is a skill that I've had to learn. Marketing is a skill I've had to learn. Business are all these skills that I had to learn that are new to me. And they're not really like my cup of tea. I just want to help people. And yet I have to find the people out there to help, or they have to find me. And to do that, social media was a piece of the puzzle. The problem is I was putting so much of the weight and pressure on social media. I kind of went full like 180. I was like, maybe um I'll totally quit social media. Like maybe I won't even do it anymore. Is it even worth it? And as I get into some of these like points number 4 and number 6 on my list here, you'll learn more about like why I kind of got to that breaking point. But I can consider quitting altogether. I'm a super private person. My friends joke that like I don't change my profile picture once every like 3 years because I don't use social media a lot personally. But it feels kind of necessary when you have an online business. It's not required, I'll say, but it does feel somewhat important. And as somebody who is more of an introvert, I kind of just like to be in my own little zone. And when I'm posting on social media, it feels like I'm posting into like the void, like screaming into the void. And it just kind of feels like a lot. It also feels a lot to put myself out there like that, to be kind of open to what are people going to say about me and the ridicule that I might face, or people talking about me, or whatever it is. Like I am definitely the shy girl that could just chill in the corner and be good, but there's also a really big part of me that knows that that's not my purpose. Like, even if that has been a part of my story, I'm here for greater things than that. And so part of that is constantly pushing myself out of my comfort zone and showing up. So I decided not to quit social media, but I did want to quit the way in which I did social media. So I'm not showing up because I feel like I have to. I'm showing up because I want to. I'm showing up because there are people out there, maybe people like you, who are looking for help, who want the help, and who are ready for that. And so if I don't show up, how are you going to find that? And also, like, I really like talking to you and connecting to you. You guys know sometimes I post really like silly stories and on my Instagram stories and just my real life. And I'm a very goofy person. I'm also very serious sometimes, but very goofy. It's kind of a weird combination. And so I post that side of myself, and so it's cool to, like, see you guys responding back to that, and we can kinda chat, and I just feel like I can be, like, my most authentic self in that way. And so if I wasn't there, I'd miss that connection. So, with that being said, I've learned that social media can be a really valuable tool, something that I do wanna use, but in the right way that fits me. What I'll talk about when I get to point number 4 on this list is what I was realizing is social media was shooting my stress levels through the roof because of all the pressure and the things that I was, like, kinda creating in my head. So instead, in the same way I would encourage you, I'm choosing to use social media in a way that feels good for me, in a way that feels like, yes, my voice is out there, in a way that's really genuine, and again, really me and silly. Like, I posted a video of me in my, like, pajamas and Crocs yesterday because that's just me. Um, but I'm not choosing to put social media before the podcast anymore. The podcast is my number one way of sharing. I feel like my authentic, again, real voice, flubs and all can kind of be shown on my podcast or on social media. We have like 5 to 7 seconds to kind of capture and hold somebody's attention. So my favorite way to show up and the place that I love to help you the most is kind of in this longer form content. And the reality is too, those of you who listen to podcasts are ready to learn. When we're on social media, we're just like there to be entertained, right? It's fun, it's funny. Sure, we might want to learn like a tidbit or two here, but that's not the main reason we go. We want to kind of be distracted, and just chill sometimes. But when you listen to podcast, you're ready to learn, you're there to get value. And this is where I love being because this is where the people who are ready to soak it up can learn the best. So with that being said, number 2, the thing that I'm quitting is putting so much focus on social media because it's like, it's not worth it. Just to be honest, it's not worth it. But I'm not quitting it totally and completely, even though I definitely considered it like a month ago. Okay, here's the biggest, and not the biggest, but one of the biggest things that I'm quitting. And basically, I am burning my business that I've had to the ground, which again, I cannot not believe that I'm saying this. Because this has taken me so long to build. But months ago, I really was just like getting the download, getting the nudge, like, hey, maybe we need a shift. Maybe there's something different that you need to do. And I've already shared with my clients and my students kind of the behind the scenes why of like, why did I decide to do this? And I won't go into like everything I shared with them, but they know the programs intimately in and out. My Free from Anxiety, my group coaching program that I've had for 3.5 years. I've had so many amazing women go through and really heal their anxiety there. And then, of course, my breathwork membership, Release, Relax, Breathe, where we've been meeting weekly for, again, 3.5 years. Both of these programs were kind of born around the same time. And I've just been feeling like, you know what? It's time for kind of like a new iteration. It's time to do something a little bit different. And maybe if you were here back on the podcast back in early spring in March, I talked about doing a new round of Free from Anxiety. And a lot of that came from, again, pressure. Like, why is pressure a keyword in this podcast? But I put a lot of pressure on myself to get that program up and going again. I was getting, I don't want to say pressure from clients, that's not the right word, but I was getting like encouragement and like questions of like, hey, can we please do this again? Because they love connecting together. They love kind of getting that jump start again back into their life when we run the live rounds of the program. And so I was feeling like, hey, I really need to do this versus like, is this really in alignment with what I want to do? Or is there something different? And finally, I kind of pushed past what I thought I should do, and like what would look best on paper or what would maybe even feel best to my clients. Like they don't know what's coming yet, but they're so excited. Some of their feedback has been really nice. And I'll hint just like a little bit of that today, but you'll hear about what's coming next in the next few weeks of the podcast. So that has been like very hard. It's been a hard decision in my head of like, do I really want to do this? But I do. So I'm quitting all of my previous programs that I've run. Again, that's my Free from Anxiety and my Release, Relax, Breathe. I really just have to trust my gut with this one. Like I have no other way to put it. I could read all over myself, all over my body, even my mind, like my heart, my soul, all the things that it just wasn't right. And I'll talk a little bit more about this in the next points point number 4 because that's a biggie of what's been going on with me. But my stress level was super high over, let's say December through like March, April, May, even. Stress level was really high. Again, putting a ton of time into things that weren't really making me happy, like social media. And my health was taking a hit. I was doubting myself all the time. And I was like, this ain't it. Like, this is not what I signed up for and what I want. So I've been really trying to get back in alignment with me. Like I shared in the first point, what is important to me? Am I doing the things that really help me feel good? Am I taking care of myself? Am I resting? Am I practicing nervous system regulation? Like, what am I really doing? And just kind of pausing everything while I figured it out. So I've been in the pause, and now this is what I'm sharing with you, like these kind of big revelations. I've been doing a lot of prayer. That's really important to me, and just asking that God show me the way and what this business is supposed to be. And so I'm really excited that I got these downloads. Although they feel really kind of like, what? Like, this is what I'm supposed to do? It definitely is. And as somebody who's not the most patient person in the world, I would love to have the download and then boom, have the thing created, but it doesn't quite work like that. So I'm being patient, I'm showing up and just trusting that this is what is right for all of us. And I am really super excited for what's coming next. I know I've said that so many times on my stories. I really am. Again, I will tell you a little bit more in the upcoming weeks, but I'm not going to share a lot now because this is more about these major like pivots that are happening. Okay. So that was number 3. That was probably the one that was going to shock you the most. I'm going to keep the next few pretty brief because they are also personal. This whole episode is personal. Who am I kidding? Um, but the 4th thing that I'm quitting is being stressed out. Like, I am tired of being stressed out. I live a very busy life, as most of you do. You probably are listening to this while you're doing something else because we have other things to do in our life. But I work full time as a counselor. I have my business where I'm helping women. I have this podcast. Of course, I have my family. And the kids are very like busy. They're into their own sports and activities. And all of that was just kind of compounding on top of my shoulders. And this became really evident back in January. I could tell, and I shared a little bit about this on my stories, my Instagram stories, but back in January, I could tell that my health was just kind of like taking a hit. My energy was really low. I was kind of feeling really sluggish during the day and then having trouble sleeping at night. My cystic acne came back, which is like heart-wrenching for me because if you've heard my story, I've struggled with acne since like I was 11, and especially hormonal acne. Then as I got pregnant, and it's just been a roller coaster, and it really takes a hit on your self-confidence and how you feel when you're struggling with acne, and especially in the way that I was struggling, which is like the deep cystic painful acne. It just feels really out of control. Um, but I could tell that all these signs that my body was sending me, even my anxiety was like present. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, this is no, 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 we don't do this anymore. Like, this feels like crap. And if that's you every day, my heart goes out to you because living with anxiety is a lot. And then to think about living your normal life on top of it can just feel like so much sometimes. So my body was going, hello, something is not right. Can we do something different? And if you follow me again on Instagram, I know I've said that 50 times, sorry, but I talked a little bit about my Aura ring, which is OURA. I think I have a referral code if you want me. Maybe I'll drop it in the show notes if I can find it. But I love this thing. It's like a health tracking ring. It measures all these biometrics of your body. And I kind of like nerd out on that stuff as I learn more about, I've learned a ton about mental health, but I'm learning more about physical health, right? So I've got this Aura ring. It's tracking my health. And why is it telling me that my stress levels are through the roof? Especially when I go to do things for my business, like post on social media. What is up with that? And my body was just obviously reading, the ring was reading the signs that my body was sending it. And because I was so busy, I wasn't paying as much of attention. So I'm done with that life. Like, we are not living the high stress life anymore. I have been working with a coach to get my hormonal health back on track for the I'm sorry, for the past couple of months. I've been working with her. I've got a few months left. Um, it's been phenomenal. I'm so excited to share more about her and what she's helped me to, but I'm feeling like so much more on track. And I'm eager to share that with you guys too, because this goes hand in hand with anxiety. Stress and anxiety are like frenemies, or like they kind of can coexist, even if it means that they're both really high at the same time. So high stress is a no. And I would love to do a whole nother episode. I know I've done an episode in the past on stress and anxiety, what the difference is, but I also want to talk about kind of when they come together and how they can kind of be co-creating each other. Okay. So with that being said, number 5 is like another shocker because the fifth thing on my list that I'm quitting, I've been doing this for like a month and a half, and I cannot even believe that I have done this. Honestly, I've done this before in my past, but it's a biggie. You guys know I loved coffee, right? Like I loved coffee. I loved even my afternoon like cup of um caffeinated beverage in whatever way that was. I kind of like different stuff. I like to like sit at my desk and sip my drink and like work, and it's just a fun thing in my day. And I quit caffeine. And I really didn't want to, if I'm being honest. But the doctor that I was working with was like, if you want to see the best results, this is what you need to do. And I trust her. And I'm so glad I did. My energy is so much more steady. I feel so much better. Let me be honest, there are definitely times that I like really miss that cup of morning coffee. Or, I drink everyday dose. If you guys have been following me for a while, you probably hear me talk about that, which is like a coffee replacement with less caffeine and a lot of other really good things. If you're looking for a way to wean off, I've got a discount code for everyday dose. So send me a message and I'll send that to you. But that was incredible and I loved it. But I've had to find other things that give me that same like feeling of that like warm morning cup of something, that ritual, that just like waking up quiet time, because I'm kind of a monster in the morning. I've had to find things to give me that same feeling. But yeah, quit caffeine. Can you even believe it? The girl who used to talk about coffee in like every post and in my bio. What a life. This is a trip. But I have loved the feeling, the results of it have been incredible. So 10 out of 10, worth it for me. Okay. Two more on this list of things that I'm quitting. And the number 6 is taking on extra obligations. This again is somebody who like, I love to do it all. Who doesn't? We're like high achieving women here, and we want to do everything, but we can't do everything, because back to point number 4, I was living a stressed out life because I was doing everything. So I had to really like shut it down. I had to reflect on what was I doing that maybe wasn't fully for me? Like, was I doing things for other people that I didn't really want to do, but I was doing them to help them? Or just doing things that were like unnecessary. Like when I looked at that list from point number 1, when I went through down my priority list, the things that I'm focusing on, if it doesn't fall under one of those things, it's not getting done. It's not. And I had to disappoint some people and I had to let some people down. And I hate that. But I also have to take care of myself in the same way that you have to take care of yourself. So taking on extra obligations is just a no-no for me. And that is hard for me. As a former people pleaser, I want to make everybody happy. And then I have to remember to make myself happy too. So it's kind of a balance. But that was a biggie, cutting extra things out of my life. Right now, I look forward to the white space on my calendar, the free time. Like, I don't see that as something I need to fill. I see that as a necessity that I have to have in my life. I'll be talking so much more about this in future episodes. I'm just trying to hit some high points here so you can understand what in the world has been going on. And I hope that this is encouragement for you too, to go, hey, maybe I need to do this reality check. Maybe I need to look at where I'm at, and am I really living life in the way I want to? Okay. So the last point I'll make, the 7th thing I'm quitting, is living a busy life. I know that when people, like, we all live busy lives, like I just said, and people say, how's it going? And you're like, oh, it's busy, but good. Like that was my statement, busy, but good, because it was busy and it was good. And now we're going back to simpler times. Like, I love simplicity. Why do I try to make things complicated? Or why do I try to cram things in? Because that doesn't feel good to me. My body likes to have time to rest. I like slow mornings. I like going at a slow pace. I hate to be rushed. Again, my Aura Ring shows me this in real time. I can look at the graph and say, oh, look, my stress was through the roof when I was racing to get somewhere because I was late, or when I was rushing to get done with that project or whatever it was. Like, simple is best. So for me, what that means, like simple in my personal life means, like I just said, saying no more. No, I cannot be at everything. No, I'm busy. And years ago, I don't know that I would have quite been able to do that yet, but that's something I'm going to be teaching you guys over the next few months is how to say no nicely, how to learn to put yourself first. I know that is like hard when you're really selfless. And again, I think there's a good balance of being helpful and kind to others and yourself at the same time. A simple life to me also looks like making sure that I set myself up for success. So I have time in the morning, I have time in the evenings. Again, we're not rushing. I have time for myself to decompress. That is a non-negotiable anymore. It's not like, oh, it's good when I do it. No, we're not skipping it. Like, it is necessary that we do it. Okay. And then simple in my business means not having all these multiple ways that you could work with me, but instead sharing one way you can work with me. And I'm like smiling already because I'm kind of giving little clues along the way of this episode of what is coming next. But just having this one incredible way, this community of working together with each other, that is coming so soon, you guys. Okay. Hopefully within the next like a little bit over a month. So all of that to say, I know that was a lot. But I think of this like pruning. If you're a gardener, you know that you have to cut back some of the old or the dead growth on a plant in order to make that plant grow. And that's what I'm doing. Like, I have pruned down so that that growth can come from inside of me. And that's exactly what I want for you too. The new growth, these amazing things to show up in your life. And for that reason, I had to quit. I had to quit so many things that weren't working for my life. And maybe you're feeling the same way, right? Maybe you want to quit something too. You've listened to this episode, you're like, Erin, you're onto something. Like, something was feeling whack. If that resonates, I want to know what you're quitting. Send me a message. Tell me what you're quitting. Like, I truly want to hear from you. Find me. I'm mostly on Instagram, but I'm also on Facebook. TikTok is hit or miss, but find me and send me a message. Tell me what you're quitting. Okay. Or you can send me an email if you're not a social media girly, and more power to you, right? Maybe as you listen to this episode, you're yearning for that change for yourself. Like, you're sick of feeling stuck in your life. You maybe are looking for some motivation. You want to change. You want to feel better. You want to feel lighter. And maybe life just feels really heavy, or you're just overwhelmed with that overthinking and that self doubt, like I was feeling several months ago. If that is you, know that I'm here to help you. Like, you do not have to do it all. You don't have to figure it out yourself. You don't have to force it and push your way through life to the next day and the next day and the next day. It is hard enough living with anxiety and high functioning anxiety. That's enough on your plate. So if that feels really overwhelming to get started, if you are so out of whack and you don't even know how to make it right again, make sure you reach out. I am opening up for the first time in 3 years. I'm opening up some one-to-one coaching sessions. These are going to be breakthrough sessions. So you're able to book just one session instead of previously it was a 3-month commitment to work with me. But I want to help you get unstuck in the same way that I was able to get myself unstuck. This is, maybe you can hear it in my voice, like one of my biggest passions in life. I've done workshops on this. I love helping my clients with this. Again, we tackle this like first thing when we work together. And so I want to be able to give you a taste of that to help you get started and on the right foot. So in these one-to-one breakthrough coaching sessions, we're going to create that roadmap for your life. We're going to look at what do you want and how can we get you there. We're going to make that step-by-step plan so that you feel the same way I'm feeling right now. You feel lighter, you feel happier, you feel on track and on course. And you're like, yes, like I am doing the things that light me up, the things that I know I'm aligned with, and I am fulfilling my purpose here on the planet. That's what I want for everyone. If I could do that for everybody, I would be the happiest person ever, just helping us all feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to do here. So if that sounds like a yes to you, make sure you book one of those one-to-one breakthrough coaching sessions. You can scroll down. The link is in the show notes. I would love to work with you. If you have questions about that, feel free, again, send me a message. I would love to talk to you about that too. Okay. Wow. This was a doozy. This was like a big episode to kind of come back from a little break, a little pause. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you more than you even know. I feel like we're friends here. I wish that this can kind of be a two-way conversation. So please make it a two-way conversation. I sincerely mean, like, reach out to me so we can chat, even if it's just about what you're quitting. I want to hear. Okay. If there's anything I can do to help you, make sure you let me know. You are incredible, and it really lights me up when I can hear from you guys and feel like that heart-to-heart connection. Okay. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being a part of this community, this podcast. I love you guys so much. Okay. Chat soon. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. You don't know how much it means to me. If you'd like more behind the scenes content, inspiration, and daily reminders that encourage and uplift you, follow me on Instagram at Hey Erin Kimbrell and send me a DM to say hey. If any of the episodes have been super helpful for you, please consider leaving me a review on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. It helps me so incredibly much, and it allows the podcast to be seen by other people who need it. If you want to learn more from me, head to erinkimbrell.com. That's where you'll find all my free resources, read the podcast show notes, and learn more information about my online coaching and breathwork programs that help you create the life you want. If you want to keep the conversation going from today's episode, join us in our exclusive podcast Facebook community, Empowered and Free Help for High Functioning Anxiety. I'm here for you, and I'm always cheering you on. I'll see you next time. I'm Erin Kimbrell, and this is the Empowered and Free podcast.